How is it going, boys and girls? Welcome back to Key West Waterman. Wish you could feel how amazing it felt here. It's like 78 and breezy. Just a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. How's it going, boys and girls? Welcome back to Key West Waterman. My name is Aaron Young. This episode doesn't have a ton of backstory on it. As I was filming, it kind of happened on accident. Long story short, Blue Gabe and Kelly Young came down and do some filming. If you don't know who they are, look them up on YouTube. They're some of the biggest names around. A little nurse shark. They came down and do some filming. Kelly's really been wanting to shoot a wahoo, and Gabe really wanted her to shoot a wahoo. So the day before, I don't know if you can see a little nurse shark down there. Day before, the wahoo absolutely exploded. We crushed them. I made a video on it. So on my way in that day, I had the next day open actually. I gave Gabe a call and told him if they wanted to get on a wahoo, that next day was probably it, and they packed their stuff up and drove down. Got out first thing in the morning. Kelly plugged a wahoo, nice one, 40-pound fish. It was her big first wahoo she ever speared, so that just kind of made the day right off rip. We did a few more drifts and we didn't see anything, so we ended up running into the reef to look around for groupers and whatnot. The conditions were just absolutely pristine. It's not always this clear in Key West as it was that day. So pretty much wherever you went was beautiful. So we decided to go into the reef, look for some groupers. Gabe actually plugged himself a nice grouper. Kelly got her black grouper, which was actually her first as well. So it was already a spectacular day, and just being so nice, I didn't have it in me not to shoot something. So I started poking around and ended up locating a nice black grouper, and it was a very, I'll use the word enjoyable, tactical hunt for me. It was, you'll just watch it unfold. Check out the clips. It was just very enjoyable. I'm gonna break it down, narrate it as I normally do, and kind of walk you through this fish. It was a lot of fun. The whole process probably took about an hour. I like being honest about those types of situations because, again, YouTube makes things look like you just swim down and shoot a fish every single time. But this was a really fun hunt. Like I said, took a while, and I'm gonna stop talking. Check it out. Welcome back underwater, everybody. So this is actually my first drop on this spot. I had earlier seen a couple smaller groupers leave this ledge while Kelly and Gabe were hunting their fish. It just kind of made me curious because a lot of times if a smaller grouper is getting pushed out of somewhere for no reason, it typically means there's a bigger fish in there. I mean, not every single time, but a lot of times I've seen it happen. So I'm coming down to this hole, kind of leading with my gun. You can see there's a decent sized Goliath in there. Not the guy that I'm looking for, but it is a big grouper, just not the right one. They're protected around here if you're not familiar. So I kind of keep scanning. I'm just using my light to kind of look as far into these cracks as I can see, and you can look into that hole and you see a big old black brown figure flip around, and I line up and I'm ready in my head about to stone this thing, and right as I'm about to pull the trigger, he jets off to the side, kind of back towards that first crack that I had initially seen the Goliath in. So I poke back around, see if by any chance he stalled, and he didn't, unfortunately. And I didn't hear like a big kick or anything. A lot of times if they leave the hole, you'll be able to hear it. It almost sounds like a small drum, or you can just kind of feel the disturbance in the water on a fish like that if they bolt completely, or you'll see dust come out of the backside of that hole. So I do another drop, and now I'm on the backside. These first holes were on the bottom of the screen to the right. I'm coming to the backside to see if he's poking around here. You can see a little grouper kind of jet in there. A lot of people underestimate how tight of holes and cracks and whatnot these fish can squeeze into, and how well they can conceal themselves. So at this point, I don't know where the fish went. I'm literally just looking in every single crack possible. I'm looking for an eyeball, a lip, a tail, a pectoral fin, his back, just anything to where I can locate. You can see that smaller grouper, not the one that I have in mind, but anything that'll just help me locate where that fish is and try and get some type of angle on him. Because these things are they're masters at concealing themselves, especially in these dark caves. And this is actually my third drop that I'm showing you, but it's probably my 6th or 7th drop on this ledge, trying to locate this fish. I know it didn't leave. I would have saw it. It's clear enough that I would have saw the fish leave if it had left. So I know it's in there. I just I can't find the right angle. I cannot locate it. So I'm just being as persistent as I can. I'm going back to the other side. You can see there's actually a nice dog snapper in there. I'm going back to those other holes that I initially saw it in, just by, if chance, you know, it's been 20 minutes. If by some chance he has shifted back over there, kind of honestly out of desperation, because I've looked so many times, I cannot for the life of me locate any piece of this fish. And I got a glimpse of him, so I know how big he is. There's that Goliath in there. He had moved over a little bit. And when you see a fish that size, it's kind of hard to let go. It's not often I leave a fish in a ledge. Again, checking every little crack and hole and cranny that I can find. Little Nassau. So truth be told, this is probably drop number maybe 10 or 11. For as shallow as we were in 35 feet of water. For as shallow as we were, this was a very big fish. It's not a fish you typically see in this depth of water. So now I'm back on the backside. Again, I'm convinced he has to be somewhere in this area, because this cave has kind of got some weird angles on it. And I get a little farther than I have gone before, and if you look right where the light is, right, hold on, right now, you can see the back of that fish, that big brown hump. That is the back of that grouper. So I finally located him. Where he's at, I can get a shot into him, but I'm not getting that fish out of that hole. It's a very awkward angle, and if I shoot him mid-body, I'm not going to be able to turn his head. So I decide I'm going to go to the boat, clear my mask out, get a bottle of water, and let him sit for 15 minutes. A lot of times, if you let those fish sit 15, 20, sometimes 30 minutes, they're not going to stay in that hole forever. They're going to leave eventually. So hopefully if I sit long enough or wait long enough, he'll shift and give me a better opportunity. So it's been about, realistically, probably about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. I had called Gabe and Kelly over. They were in the area. They were right near me, just didn't know exactly what I was up to, because I didn't want to tell them I had a fish rocked up until I actually had an opportunity at this thing. So I left my gun there. No real reason for that, but just kind of to mark the spot. And I look in here, and you can see I freeze frame. I can see his tail. That little brown spot. It's brown with a little bit of black on the tip is his tail. And that tells me that I'm not seeing his back anymore. So if I can see his tail, I've searched this rock so many times, I know if I can see his tail, that means his head is sticking out of the other side. So instead of trying to take him in one dive, I go and go back to the surface and try and get my breath properly. And now I know where he's at. I'm pretty positive I'm going to take a shot this time, so I really took my time and got a good breath. You can see there's Gabe and Kelly there. If you don't know who they are, look them up on YouTube. Blue Gabe, Kelly Young, really just incredible people. We had so much fun. They were so polite. Always welcome back on my boat. Truly just really, really genuine, nice people. So I'm doing one more check. I want to make sure his tail there. There's that Nassau. Those are protected here. Unless you're watching on a big screen, you may not be able to see it. I see a little black line. I know his tail is still there. So now it's go time. I'm ready. I've got a good breath. Coming around this corner. Ledge is on my left side. I'm leading with my gun because I know right when he sees me, he's going to bolt. And just very, very slowly, light is where I'm aiming. I see him, and bam, put one right in his cheek, right in the side of the face. Because he's a bigger fish, I let that fish kind of settle there. I didn't want to try and horse him out immediately. Allows him to get a little more buried, but I want that flopper to set properly.
He shifted. Woo!
He sounds chunky.
He's pissed.
He's a shaft bender. It's right in his face. He moved. That's why I left him alone. He moved. And I talk about this. This is one of the hardest dives to make, is a dive retrieving a fish. Luckily, we were only in 35 feet of water, but after you shoot a fish, your heart rate's elevated, your blood's pumping, adrenaline's going. Really hard to calm down and catch your breath and get a good breath hold. Little reef shark back there. It was nice to actually have someone in the water with a camera. Normally, you know, my buddies don't have cameras. Gabe had a camera on him. He was nice enough to do some filming, so you can see me. I grab the line, I leave the line in my right hand wrapped, and I'm pulling it through my left hand, kind of just trying to get to the shaft, get to the fish. This first dive, I'm just assessing the situation. I want to see how far back he is, if I can reach him. Can I feel the fish? Can I feel the shaft? I actually could not feel either. I could not even get to the shaft, so I kind of come out and trying to see, maybe he darted back through this side. He's going to come out on another ledge. You can see there's a cloud of dust in there next to that Goliath. He had stirred up pretty good, but at this point I could not reach the fish. I only had the line in my hand, so time to go back up, kind of reassess, get a good breath, and get to work. You relocated, huh? He ran with it a little. I gotta get eyes on him. So just doing everything to mellow out, catch my breath. Fish isn't going anywhere. I know I've got a shaft in him. And I think it took probably 5 or 6 dives to retrieve this fish. Again, I only show you 3, I think. Don't want to bore you to death, but like to keep it relatively real. Again, this whole process took probably an hour. And I'm going to leave the camera on me this time and kind of show you what I'm actually looking at. Essentially, I'm working in the dark. I can't see anything. It's all hands, it's all my feel. And I've kind of got the fish to pop loose a little. I'm pulling, not with all my might. I'm pulling just to see if he'll budge. If he budges, I try to take a little more. If it's just dead stopped, I'm waiting for that fish to move, try to relocate. Hopefully the flopper's not stuck on a rock, because I can pop that flopper off. It's kind of a tricky situation here. There's not one answer on how to get this fish out or how to handle this situation. You can't put a second shot in it because you can't see him. You kind of just gotta go with your instinct and kind of feel it out. And the fish slowly started to budge. I got him out a bit, and you can kind of see I run my hand right around that rock real quick with a string to try and keep that fish from going farther back in and losing that progress I had just made, because I did move him quite a bit forward. He's big.
God, I was glad you came up.
Woo! He's big.
I'm like,
I got his tail. He's right there. Holy crap. That's a big fish. I don't know what he's doing in here. Whew. I gotta get a breath. You can kind of see my entry here. Not something I cover a lot, but do a couple flutter kicks and kind of use my weight and roll into that dive. Get you a little more smoothness on that entry and saves a little energy. I see a lot of people flail on the surface, but anyways, back to the grouper. I've got him out. You can see I grabbed the line to try and untangle it a little because I had nicked it around that rock so he couldn't go farther back in there. And on very rare occasion am I just grabbing the shaft and yanking. For the most part, I want my hands on the fish as soon as possible. I very rarely just pull the fish out by the shaft. I typically always have my hands in his gills if I can get it there. And luckily enough, I was able to kind of pull him far enough forward. Gabe's on shark patrol. Pull him far enough forward and kind of get my hands on the actual fish. I was pretty confident in my shot, but just to be safe, and you can see I get shaft and then straight to fish, grabbing both sides of the shaft so I know he's not going anywhere, and then straight for the gills.
Woo! Woohoo!
Nice one.
Oh.
Good Lord, about killed me.
I'll kill me too, and I wasn't doing nothing but sitting there.
Again, big thanks to Gabe and Kelly. They've made some videos on their channels. They are huge YouTubers. If you have not seen them, go check them out. Blue Gabe and Kelly Young. Type it in the search bar. Cannot thank them enough for putting my channel out there and helping me a ton. And that is all I've got for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That fish actually ended up going over 25 pounds on a scale. Really, really nice fish for that shallow of water. We were in 35 feet of water on that spot. And just a really, really fun tactical hunt. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave some comments as always. Like if you have not already. It helps a ton. I do appreciate your time, and I will see you on the next one. Later.